So we should be live on uh, Douglas Canton on YouTube, and a little bit later to make sure that everybody gets everything. We're gonna get hooked up here with the WSTX uh, on YouTube and Facebook also, because especially for Island Analytics, we want everybody to at least get an idea of what these people do, how they do it, and why you can rely on it as being more reflective of the community as opposed to just propaganda type of stuff. All right. So let your voice be heard in every which way possible. Okay. All right. So now I have a job to do, and I don't want to get fired. Okay. People ain't know that Sarge does employ me, but the pay ain't all that good, but still, you know what I'm saying? I gotta do my job, right? I gotta do my job. Okay. So, but none other than our legendary band, Image Band. Yeah, I remember them days going to the Virgin Islands picnic in Washington D.C. Good things, and then the various parties and so forth and so on. It was always great. It's always great. But I love being home. But if I'm in the area at the time all this is going on, hey, you'll see me there. It was a great time when I was spending that time up that side or visiting. Okay. Yeah. All right. So let's do our duty here to country, island, and territory. Okay. None other than Image Band coming up in a minute. But first, I got to make sure that we got everything hooked up here. That the zombie them ain't gonna try and climb in and do nothing that we don't like. Okay. All right. Image Band.
Fight for your culture, work for your culture, enjoy your culture. Together, worship your culture, learn from your culture, stay with your culture forever. Where are the monuments of our local heroes? Recognize their contributions to their heritage. D. Hamilton Jackson, Elmo Plaskett, Doc James, Ralph Bishop, Henry Rosen, Alexander Moorhead. Continue. David Canigata Sr., Harris Clark and Joe Christopher, Almas Ben, Valmy Thomas, Emil Griffith, B.G. Gerard, Elrod Hendricks, Gracie Julian Jackson. Fight for your culture, work for your culture, enjoy your culture. Together, worship your culture, learn from your culture, stay with your culture forever and ever. Don't forget our great mass makers. Psycho and Anita Christian, Magnus Holiday, Helen Joseph Floyd Anderson, Susie Ibadi Peterson, Sylvia Florence Bailey, Mr. Thomas One Man Man, Ziggy Top, Rudy Shelterbrand, Ohalo Williams, Blinky, James Z, Joe Paris, Edward Simmons, Lloyd Graffett, Archie Thomas, King Derby, Wesley Thomas, Milo, Stanley, My Great Chanel, Fiona Watson, Miss Harris, Willie White, Beryl Francis, Ethel McIntosh, and many more, too numerous to mention. Brownie, we thank you. Good thing.
Yeah, you hear that good thing come back again, right? Yeah. Brownie, the great Brownie, and of course we got here in this life Tony Romano, who started this thing spreading like that. I tell you, thank goodness a good thing is contagious. All right, thank goodness. I love it. I love it. Okay, folks, I tell you to do your random act of kindness. I'm going to continue on that. When I talk with these young folks out there, one of the things to always drive home is that it's not about you. The world don't revolve around you necessarily. Good things can come to you, but part of it is learning how to give. It's just like the earth. The earth gives plenty, but you got to take care of the earth for it to be there so you can survive and hopefully thrive. Yeah, so do that random act of kindness. And if you're feeling kind of bored, you know what I'm going to tell you to do, right? Some premeditated acts of kindness. You don't have to worry about the January 6th Commission, the FBI, nobody. They ain't coming after you for that. All right? They may be even encouraging you in that behavior. Okay? So, all right. All right. Let me see what's going on here with my my thing, because I'm looking for certain things and I'm not seeing it. No, I got what I need for you now, but I'm just saying I'm looking here and it's like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Anyhow, we're going to work on that another time. All right, so let's take a look at what's going on in our community here. There's a lot of things happening, but, however, whichever one you want to use, the bottom line is that you are the special ingredient that makes it happen. And I say that especially when we have the children out there performing. They ain't performing for their health. They performing because they know people coming to see them. So make sure you know what's going on in the community and you check it out. Now, there are a couple of things I want to remind you about. Okay, first of all, you have the children's parade rehearsal schedule, the first and third Saturdays. We're talking about 10 sleepless nights and they're true. The children parade rehearsal schedule every first and third Saturday. They've been at it now for a while, so definitely if you're interested in your child being involved, go and get yourself registered and the child there dropped off and picked up. Okay, and you can get in touch with Miss Sharon Hill, 340-514-6035. Coming at you again, 340-514-6035. We want to make sure that if you're interested in having your child involved and getting them exposed to the culture, yes, just remember, Image Band send you, of course, with a little bit of help from Doug. But do it, folks. Do it for your culture, for our culture, for the culture, for the Virgin Islands, and its uniqueness for St. Croix, and its very special place in that unique structure. All right. Yeah. The folks at Sports Parks and Recreation have these various things going on, and I want to make sure that you know about it. Now, it started in October. They have these after-school clinics going on, and I just want to tell you that it's your child. It's an opportunity to be positively engaged in good things that are also healthy things. You got tennis at DC Canigata going on there for ages 8 through 13 on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Right? And you got baseball for ages 7 through 12 going on again at DC Canigata on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And also going to be at the Reinhold Jackson ballpark Monday and Wednesday. So alternating, okay? Basketball for ages 6 to 12 at DC Canigata Monday and Wednesday, and down at Reinhold Jackson, okay, Tuesday and Thursday, alternating. And for ages 13 plus at the Petro Cruz Court, Monday and Wednesday. All right, good thing. So, folks, that's part of what these folks are doing in their commitment to keep you in the fit state of being. All right? Keep those children positively engaged, building character, learning new skills, the whole nine yards. Everybody wins. Everybody wins. Okay? All right. This is, you know, just like the lottery. If you don't play, you can't win. Get your children involved. Get your children involved. Okay? That's how you do it. Now, moving. Yes. Did you go to the Relay for Life? I was there. I got some nice footage when the lights went out and everything else. It was a real touching affair. It always is. Because this thing called cancer is touching everybody. Okay? You think you're removed from it? Just ask around in your family and you'll see that, hey, it's right next door, it's around the corner, it's maybe even in the same house that you're in. Learn about cancer and the things you can do to definitely facilitate early detection. Early detection. All right. And speaking of early detection, men, you know about this thing called prostate cancer. You let a wife and girlfriend go to the doctor, special, you know, that special person in your life, go to the doctor, and the doctor does what the doctor needs to do to keep them healthy. So, in the same way that in that stereotype of relationships, you can't be there saying that there's one standard for women and a different standard for men. All your family, all your friends, all your loved ones would much rather have you here in this world than to find out that you were taken away from something as controllable as prostate cancer. Right? Do what you got to do. A lot has changed. Let the doctor do what he needs to do to make sure that you stay healthy and with the people who want you to be around. Okay, good thing. Good thing. Yeah, I didn't get to go and peep in when they had the video game tournament there at DC Canagata Recreation Center. But I want to tell you, I hope to see more of that type of thing going on, because hey, it's their world and part of their world, and you should do what you can to help to make sure that not only that they are safe playing the games, have fun playing the games, but hey, they can also learn some skills that can turn into a vocation that pays very, very well. So, games have their strength. All right, now I see some lights here gone out, okay? So, I don't know if that means that WAPA is doing his thing, and if WAPA is doing his thing, then we streaming, okay, and lights come back on. I hope that means everything is all right. All right, good thing. So, if you miss World Food Day, you know it comes around every year. The UVI this past weekend. Hey, so be involved in your community. But coming up this weekend, Bush Cook, Chef Cook, Saja Farms, folks. Bush
You're
Cook,
back on the air.
Chef Cook. Yeah, at Saja Farms. So make sure, if you haven't marked your calendar, October 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. The first day, the Friday. Yeah, I know a lot of you working and you're saying, well, that's kind of good. It's free to the public and everything else, but I got to work on this, that, and the other. Okay. Well, I can tell you there's something special going on. They have some schools, public schools, private schools, home schools, whose children are going to engage in a cooking contest for bragging rights. Yes. And those children are going to show up at Saja Farm, and they're going to be given all the ingredients to make this dish. I ain't going to call out the dish name. You're going to be given all the ingredients to make this dish, and then And then, oh yeah, they're going to get the opportunity to pick from anything else in the farm store to add a special twist, okay? And I have a very special shy girl in my studio. I just call her Star, okay? Yes, she's one of those students that's going to be out there with her apron on and her utensils and doing her thing with her school. All right. But if you can make it out, please do. Cheer the children on, support them in what they do, and definitely big up Seja Farm for putting this together this way that integrates the children into things that will impact them: culture, food security, food sovereignty. Hey, start teaching them from young. That's how you do it. So hopefully I'll get the chance to go by there on Friday and check it out. The Saturday is the actual bush cook chef cook competition where they're gonna have quite a few chefs local, and I hear that we have some from coming from other continents, yeah, and islands. It's gonna be good, folks. Now that's a paid event, and you can get your tickets right there at Seja Farm. All right, and it's gonna be good. That's all I'm gonna tell you. It's gonna be good. Gonna be good. Very creative techniques that these people use. Gonna be good. Then the Sunday, they have the event, which is a 5-course meal from, I believe, from 5 to 9, another paid event. And they really do it up. If you can get your way in there to be a part of that, hey, you're going to have good food, good company, everything just good, 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 good. Entertainment, the whole 9 yards to make sure that it goes down really, really nice. Okay? So, if you didn't know about it, I'm telling you about it now. All right, good thing. Then we've got a sip and paint going to be going on at the Cane Roots Art Gallery right here in Christiansted. Yeah, and they're going to have unlimited wine. I wonder if they're going to have cheese. Because it's a cheese or causing people to go there and try to move their mahogany tree. Folks, they have unlimited wine, but if they have cheese too, I'm going to tell you, eat your cheese responsibly, okay? We don't want you trying to move these mahogany tree. They way part they belong. And last I know, mahogany tree don't work day or night. They don't work. So, all right, but that's going to be also on Friday, October 21st, and that's 5:30 p.m. to 7 p.m. So Seja Farm in the day, and hey, sip and paint in the evening. All right, and that's a paid event also, but you'll have lots of fun in the process and support the great activities and displays that they have there at the Cane Roots Art Gallery. All right. Okay. Carnival meets the runway with a splash of color. Yes. That's Saturday the 26th at DC Canagator Ballpark. Doors open at 7 p.m., folks. I could see the place jam-packed with cars from one end to the other end. Folks, it's going to be good. Carnival meets the runway. And they're going to have all kind of troops like Savage Festival, RD, Carnival Troop, Prestige Carnival Troop, Sanctuary, among others. Okay, Gentlemen of Jones. It's gonna be good. If I left out anybody, hey, go there and see them for yourself, right? Then you can call the show and tell me who all was there. Good thing, good thing. I did my duty. I brought the event to your attention. Now you do your part. Be the special ingredient that makes it the runway thing that it is going to be. All right. Good thing. And of course, we had the folks in here from the YAG Foundation, and they were talking about their sandals, sunglasses, and sunset. That's going on there at Caribbean Museum Center for the Arts, the 22nd. Yeah, okay, from 4 p.m. to midnight. If you haven't gotten your tickets, go to Eventbrite, check in with the folks at Caribbean Museum Center for the Arts to find out more about what's scheduled and how you might want to schedule your day. All right, good thing, good thing. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All month long is Domestic Violence Awareness Month, and they've had quite a few events going on, and including their motorcade and everything else. But we're going to look at their schedule and see what they have as we close out the month. But the bottom line is, Domestic Violence Awareness Month is really and truly every month. Okay, I mean, we highlight it in October, but it's really every month. Pay attention to what's going on around you in every respect. We want to protect the men, women, and children of our community from domestic violence. All right. Now we also had the Voices That Count at UVI this past Monday and Tuesday, and I got check in with my people who were there, because this was a discussion centered on accessibility and improving the quality of life for people with disabilities in the Virgin Islands. So I'm going to check in with my friends accordingly and let me know how it went, and we can talk about it. The problem from their perspective, one of the feedback that I've gotten in the past is that it's a lot of talk. It's a lot of talk. It's a lot of talk. I hope that it wasn't that way this time. I hope that we're going to see some substantive things start happening, like more of a commitment toward clear sidewalks with proper ramps, and removal of all of those obstacles so they can enjoy the community like the rest of us. Okay, good thing. All right. Saturday, October 29th, we jump forward a whole week. We got a night at the museum, at Caribbean Museum Center for the Arts. Yes, a historical cultural costume party. They're going to have champagne, music, and dancing, and surprise appearances by local cultural figures, right? Costumes are encouraged. They're not going to turn you away if you don't have a costume. But hey, you come on out there, and if you in the spirit put on that costume, that special thing. Even if the costume is just being you. Okay? All right. They're going to have entertainment by DJ Swain and DJ Vic of Y2K. So, early bird tickets. Yeah, get your early bird tickets and save some money. Okay? Check in with the folks at Caribbean Museum Center for the Arts, and that's October 29th, 7 p.m. The party starts right down in Frederickston. All right, all right. And of course, it's that time of year. A lot of folks into this Halloween thing. Yeah, I see they got a haunted house where the North Shore Freaks present Nightmare on Company Street. Hey, and it's going to be at Levels on the 29th from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. So, folks, it's going to have lots of fun going on this weekend, and you are a key ingredient. Now, the St. Croix East End Marine Park is having a trunk or treat. Yes. I guess they're going to trunk what? Like trunk fish? You going to have trunk fish? Plenty of trunk fish? I'll go with it for that. Anyhow, trunk or treat. October 29th again from 5:30 to 8:30. Right? Okay, and out there by Great Pond, you're going past Great Pond. And the actual address, 5005 Estate, Great Pond. Yeah. All right. So, join them for a spectacular evening of music, food vendors, photo booths, costume contests, and more. Yeah, you can register your decorated display if you want to. Yep. Vehicle trunks, tables, and tents. Welcome. So, it's one of those down-to-earth family things. Have some fun. Get out in a great moonlight. Hopefully the moon will be out doing its thing. You want more information about that? Then just dial 340-718-3367, folks. 3367. All right. Yeah, they have an email also, friends.stxeemp, meaning Eastern Marine Park, at gmail.com. All right. Now, coming that weekend also, you have the VI Energy Fair, and they have a schedule of events I have here, right? Okay, the VI Energy Office and the Caribbean Green Technology Center of the University of the Virgin Islands are pleased to invite you to attend the inaugural VI Energy Sustainability Fair. The theme: empowering Virgin Islanders to transition toward energy independence and become more resilient. Yeah. It means that you could have a way where you can have light whether or not WAPA pushing power or not, whether or not it was because of a hurricane or not. Yeah. Check it out. And that's going to be at UVI at the Great Hall, I believe. Let me see. Yeah, at the Great Hall. And it's going to be starting at 10 a.m. and going all the way through 5 p.m. All right? So, folks, you're going to have all day long to check this out. Okay? And that's on the 30th, October 30th, at the UVI Great Hall. They're going to have workshops there about residential solar, WAPA and renewable energy, household tools and tips, the Internet of Things. They're going to add some other interesting and important things like composting, powering through a blackout, electric cars. They're going to have electric cars on display and presentations about them, cistern maintenance, desalinization and water quality. Okay, they reduce and reuse part of recycling. Yeah. They're going to have other demonstrations also, like, they're going to have composting experts from the VI Conservation Society and the VI Department of Agriculture there to talk about the great things that composting can do for you, for farming purposes and for the environment in general. They're going to have a showcase of electric cars by the VI Electric Vehicle Association North and the VI Energy Office. All right. They're going to have a panel there, including one that is going to be about the future of renewable energy in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and also all about electric vehicles. Now, they're going to have a lot of vendors there also. Pro Solar Systems going to be there, Silver Sun Solar, Electric Factory, Eco Innovations, Carib Sun Energy, VI Electric Vehicle Association North, of course, the VI Water and Power Authority, Energy Office, yes. Among others, you're going to have folks there from the VI Conservation Society, VI Marine Advisory Service, the VI Waste Management, St. Thomas Rotary East. Yeah. Seven Seas Water, Island Green Living, U.S. Environmental Protection Agency. Yep, a whole bunch of folks going to be there. So, can't take my whole show just going down the list, but you get the idea. So check them out this 30th of this October, folks, at UVI Great Hall, the VI Energy Fair. All right. Yeah. I see here, One Life to Live, One Life to Love Reggae Festival, Saturday, November 5th. Yeah, how we reaching November so fast? Hey, I tell you, man, that's the way it does move. The day's getting shorter or something. I ain't quite sure what it is, okay? But we're going to take a little break here, a little break from Doug's voice. Sometimes even I need that break, folks, okay? Yeah. Okay, so you know how it is. You know it's rough when you get tired of hearing yourself, right? I remember the days when my mom would say, I tired of hearing myself talk. Well, it was a different type of tired back in them days, because when they get tired like that, the next thing was coming was licks. They ain't talking no more. So, In this case here, Doug ain't gonna lick himself. I'm gonna just take a break and give you some nice music to lime with in the meantime. All right, good thing. And let me start off with something cultural back from the Wesley Thomas Brothers days. All right, we need to hear something like this to get that blood flowing. All right, got some new things to fill you in on when we come back.
Yeah, this is my tribute to the Virgin Islands. Call this home. Yeah, yeah. Best to solve them. We want to welcome you. Come feel our gentle breezes, marvel at the sandy shore. Our crystal sparkling waters, bet you can ask for more. St. Thomas, St. Paul, St. John, next door to the PDI. Filled up with fascination, your interest we will satisfy. Some people they try to top us, but man they just cannot. I suggest you come and join us, because the VI hot. Up your hand them high. Know that you from the VI. Wave your flags up in the sky. Show them we run this party. Show them we rule this fed. Show them we have energy. Tired man will never get. VI, we from the VI. Oh, VI, we love the VI. Oh, yeah. Water Island, you're amazing, yeah, yeah. of us, we leave these islands all over the world we roam. When it comes to carnival time, be ready to come back home. To eat boiled fish and fungi, cherry and almonds too. To drink passion fruit and mommy, see mustard name a few. We have to catch up the juve, jump up behind jam band. We have to be in the parade, jump in with just action. We have to swim Maidens Bay, Cookie Point and Bessop too. We have to visit St. John, from where we have to do. St. Paul is our biggest beauty, historic sites galore. I suggest you come and join us, come along and take a tour. V.I.A. from the V.I.O. Shout it out, VI, put up your hand them high. Know that you from the VI, wave the flags up in the sky. Show them we run this party, show them we rule this fete. Show them we have energy, tired man we'll never get. VIA, we from the VIO. Packed up with friendly people, most will greet you with a smile. Wrapped up in our pride and culture, that is the Virgin Isles. We'll teach you some old traditions, that's a quill we step up to. We'll show you an old plantation, or history old and new. Come down and spend your money, shopping is duty free. Purchase our rum and clothing, artwork and jewelry. Our day sail is really lovely, so many things to see. Snorkel live and swim our waters, fulfill your fantasy. Our islands are really special, they are our pride and joy. There's not a place more lovely, St. Thomas, St. John, St. Croix. V.I.A. we from the V.I.O. Put up your hand them high. Know that you from the VI, wave the flags up in the sky. Show them we run this party, show them we rule this fete. Show them we have energy, tired we will never get. VIA, we from the VIO. VIA, we love the VIO. Massive, you a fool. Yeah, 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 we love you. Yeah, yeah, V.I., yeah,
Yeah, folks. Okay, from the VI, no deny. From the VI. Okay. Yeah, man. I remember them jam band line. I telling you, that's another era in and of itself, in its own way, going to live forever. All right. Well, anyhow, I got a caller here who come in at just the right time, because I'm going to be talking about our good friends at the Women's Coalition of St. Croix. And this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And so I just to let my good friend know that his device for finding his way around is not to be used to inflict pain on anybody. Good morning, Gerard.
Good morning, Mr. Cantor.
How are you doing?
I'm alright.
Good. Good to hear your voice. All right.
My device can be used for multiple things.
I tell you, I don't keep my distance.
It is to allow me to navigate independently, safely,
Mm-hmm.
and it can be used in self-defense.
All right. So what are you trying to say? I'd be attacking you with the
I
nar?
ain't saying that.
So nar,
You know,
nar does
my
attack you?
friend, you know my good friend that passed away, Miss Welters,
Yeah.
Carmen
Uh-huh.
Welters.
Yes.
You know, when she was a teacher, two students at Arthur Richards tried to take a bath, and she gave them a good caning.
A good lesson.
Uh,
A good
yeah.
lesson.
So she gave them a lesson in cane food.
Mm-hmm.
So I know they didn't try that again. You know, so that's why I say it can be used both ways for navigation for the
Yeah.
blind and to protect yourself. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I got a reference to what you mentioned about the voices that count.
Yeah. All right.
You wanted to know if it's still talk. Basically, yeah, same thing. I mean, one candidate, I used to have an ask them about jobs for the disabled, and one guy, I won't call the individual name, but he said, "Oh, we can give you jobs, answering phones and filing papers." So I stood there flabbergasted. I said, I could answer the phone. But as for filing papers, I couldn't even tell you where the paper was, much less to find it. You know, I went on to saying that is the insensitivity that people have, or the misconception people have with persons with disabilities. Because most of the time, people see the disability sign and they think wheelchair walkers, cane, that sort of thing, right?
Exactly.
They forget that there are also disabilities that are not visible. Like my disability is not visible. If you don't know me or you don't see me with my cane, you will never know that I'm a blind person. You know? And even though some people see me with a cane, they don't even know what the cane is. You know?
Well, you know, it has gotten so bad the way you don't move and people can't tell, right? That the court them got a permanent sign up there saying if it's a case about whether or not Gerard is blind, don't bring it. We're not accepting it. All right, because all these people want to see you saying that, you know, somehow or the other that you faking it. All right, okay? I telling you.
Well, it has been said several times, even by some of the bike and bus drivers and stuff like that.
Hey.
And then the question was posted about transportation for the disabled. Now, you know, that's one of my pet peeves.
Yes.
And one of the candidates said, "Oh, you know, the government cannot furnish everything for the people, and the government can't do everything." So I told him, I said, "Well, this is a federally funded service, and abroad in places like New York, that bus service runs up until some like midnight to 1 a.m. in the morning, 7 days a week."
Mm-hmm.
You know, I said, if you hire drivers and purchase buses, it can be done. He said, "Oh, but the government needs money." I said, "Well, the last time I heard in a debate, the governor said, I got money." And two people were saying that, the two people in the debate were saying that there's a surplus. So why not use the surplus to help the people of the Virgin Islands, especially the disabled community. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Hire the drivers, buy the buses, get the buses. So they got quiet and said, and in closing, I'll tell you this. And the fixed road buses, the main road buses, the buses that were purchased for the main road is sitting down. That's the buses for Center Line Road. All three of them sitting down in public works right now. They're not working. Those are the buses that can kneel for when a senior citizen is getting on there. They go in the front door.
Yeah.
The bus can kneel down so that the person don't have to lift their foot up so high to step up to get in the bus.
Right.
That bus, those buses, they have three of them. That's a bus that have that flat face in front of it.
Yep.
It don't have the engine in the front. The engine is in the back. Those three buses are sitting in public works, still in damn near brand new condition. And
well, you know, the thing with buses in general and that type of thing is, you know they're gonna break down. So if they need 3 just to run the route, they really need 5 so that they can do routine rotating maintenance. And
Yeah.
you know, if you're gonna do it, then do it right. Either that or privatize it out, but do it right. Because the fact of the matter, as St. Croix is picking up, there are a lot of people out there who can contribute to the economic vitality of this place if they had mobility by access to transportation. Okay?
exactly.
And so, yeah.
Exactly, and those buses, they run them only 5 days a week. In the weekend, you're out of luck. So if you need to go anywhere on Saturday or Sunday, you have to rely on whatever taxi man decide to come out his bed and run the road on those days, which is even the taxi community, you hardly even see those. Somebody was complaining to me that they had to stand up on the road for about an hour before they see one taxi pass by.
Mm-hmm. I hear you.
You know, so the need is there. I mean, there was a time where Bytron used to pass every half hour. They had 4 buses on the road, on Center Line Road. They had 2 buses on the outskirts. That's the route leading from the terminal to Tide Village, or from the terminal to Kmart via Calcaon, the terminal to Tide Village via Princess. You know, they had 2 buses going back and forth there, so a bus would pass back in those areas every hour.
Okay.
And
Well,
every half hour, a bus would pass on the main road. Because when the 2 buses are at the terminals, there are 2 buses in either a bus in Frederickstead and Christiansted at the same time.
right.
And as they leave, they pass each other on the road, and they end up at the terminal and in Christiansted and at Frederickstead around the same time, and vice versa. So that would carry on all day until, you know, the buses get off the road. Unfortunately, in the great wisdom of a former public works commissioner, they decided to fire the Peter Pan Bus Company and pull the buses off the road and do all this nonsense. They cut down the routes and lay off drivers and all this kind of thing.
Well, you know, one thing
Yeah.
for sure, Jared, okay, clearly the service we had before and the service we have now, okay, it can't compare. It's been downhill ever since. And it's going to
It's
take
just,
some,
it's just barely a shell of what we have.
Of
you
what
know?
we
I
had.
mean, the buses used to run 7 days a week.
but let me just say 2 things, and I'm going to have to run because my guest is here and I got to finish up to bring my guest in, okay? But, you know, because, well, first of all, you got people waiting on this bus, and the bus break down and not coming, and they sitting there waiting. They need to have these bus tracks and make an app set up so that the people who want to utilize the service can know the status and location of the buses so that they can plan their time better. Okay? No ifs, ands, or buts about that. But clearly, when it comes to public transportation, from back in the days, I know if it's past history, when the big thing was to have a car, okay, and of course to have a government car routing up and down the place. We have a mentality here that's pro automobile, bicycles, buses, and all those. We don't have a public transportation friendly environment among those who make policy. And that's where we have to start. All right? The taxi drivers are there to make their money. Public transportation isn't there to take away their money. They can coexist. And there are areas that aren't being served that need to be brought into the loop. Because, like I said, if the people can get out reliably, they'll also be there to spend and keep our economy in that much better shape. Anyhow.
I agree. And before I leave, I'll tell you, they have the software. The app is, they have the software. They just have not implemented it.
Okay. And of course we know why. Because it really, at this point, the unreliability of the system would be that much more glaring. That's it. But
exactly.
But you gotta
you take the words right out of my mouth.
Yeah, but we gotta start from somewhere. We could start off with it being bad, but it could get better. Okay?
Yeah.
It's just like we could talk about the experience down at motor vehicle, and you go down there now, it's a dream. Come true,
Which is
thank
why
goodness.
I need to get down there myself.
All right, okay.
But
Well, you can't borrow my car today, okay? I ain't getting you my keys. Anyhow,
Why not?
I gotta run.
Anyway, let the ladies know I said hello.
Okay, will do. All right.
So yeah, you take care. Have a great day.
All right, do the same. All right, good thing. Yeah, folks. My good friend Gerard, co-host. I could only hope one of these days I could get him back in the studio. But I just want to close out this section here talking a little bit, not talking, but just announcing this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. And today, Take Back the Night, the silent march and rally. So please help raise the domestic violence awareness and show support for survivors. This is in Frederickstead. They're going to have Take Back the Night and honor the strength of victims and survivors in our community. They're going to gather by the fish market for the silent march to the Eliza McBean Clock Tower for the rally. Okay? Also, just want you to know, this is your purple day. Okay? So if you left out like me without your piece of purple, I got a piece in my bag here. I'm going to tag it on in a minute. Okay? Just think about how you got a purple something laying around the office, something you could tag on to show your support for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Definitely. All right? And now on the 26th, which is the last among the formal events that they have going on, they are going to have a virtual panel discussion focused on male victims and survivors and male perpetrators of domestic violence. All right? Now, I love the fact that they're having this because there's two sides to the coin. There's the men who are out there being abused, but because of culture and macho and whatever else, they can't reach out for help. They can't speak up. They don't want nobody to know that they were going through that, and so forth and so on. And then we have those men that we just need to call them out, who somehow or the other think that a woman is like something that they own, that they could do it as they please whenever they feel, or that somehow or the other, whether it's drinking or whatever, that is always an excuse and they should be forgiven. Please, And we say it that way. I use a man-woman relationship, but hey, we're talking about violence, period. So it don't matter whether the victim is man, woman, or child. The key is getting to the root of domestic violence and rooting it out. Okay? All right. So, folks, make sure you stay involved in the things that are going on in your community. Make the difference. Make it the community that you want to see. That's how you do it, folks. All right? So now, I'm going to take a I'm going to take a quick second here to give you a little bit of music while I segue. We're going to have Island Analytics and Marketing. Yes, Mr. Richard Dorsey in the house when we come back. So let's hear a little bit of good music here from the folks in the VI rhythm section. I want to tell you, I'm going to play this song, right? It's called Human Nature, okay? Human nature. There's so many things that people has lay on human nature. Things that people has lay on human nature. Okay, but it's all good, folks. It's all good. It's great music. It's soothing and everything else. But you see somebody that from the time you know them, they that do this or do that, it's just how it is. Maybe it's just their part, their role, their little slice of human nature. Enjoy. Yes, folks. Oh, Miles, when David, when he get together and he put this group of musicians together and they get out there, yeah, yeah, yeah. I can't wait for more of the where we got in the west we got the sunset jazz, and in the east to get the jazz in the park going again. I hope they hurry up and finish fixing up this waterfront so we can get it back and get the community back out there enjoying it. Yeah, great stuff. Great stuff. Now, you know, around the corner from me, where I live, there's a move that's happening where people are fixing up in the community. If you drive up and down Hospital Street from the waterfront coming up, you'll see it happening. New sidewalks, new buildings, no something like. Come around the corner, and there's a stuff dump on the road, on the side, the concrete they break up to make the new thing, and then you have this cut in the road where somebody put the access into the sewer system and the thing's sinking, and now it's become a major obstacle. Yes. I know somebody got a story. Everybody got a story about a favorite pothole, or not so favorite pothole, a well identified pothole, or a sidewalk with a lamppost in the middle of it, so that no wheelchair can pass there. Yeah, but you know, you got to get involved and you got to make informed decisions about how you're going to do things like vote. You know, those people that you quote unquote vote for are the people who can set policies and allocate the funding and put the policies in place and the emphasis in place to address things as fundamental as that. Okay? Now, we've got Island Analytics and Marketing here in the house, and I'm going to bring him here to you in a second. I got a call that just came in. Let me find out who this caller is and what they are about that they want to share with us really quick, but we're not going to dilly-dally. Coming right back. Good morning, WSTX.
Morning, Douglas R. How are you today?
And Douglas E, not Douglas R. You got brother R. Okay. We got enough R's in the house.
Oh, okay.
Okay, but anyhow, I gonna ask you.
Sorry.
I gonna
Is there
ask.
something?
Yes, I'm going to ask you to call back. I want you to listen. I want you to listen because I have a young man in here. Okay, son of the soil, come back and invest and got into business, and he has this organization called Island Analytics and Marketing.
Great.
And he does these great polls that you've been seeing the various results for, and he got a very interesting one going on right now, and I got him in here.
Let me listen then.
Yes, I appreciate that. Okay?
Yes.
All right, family. Okay then.
Right.
All right, take care. Hey, I love my audience out there, okay, because they really interested in the conversation and the things that have to be said and need to be said in the context of the community speaking. All right, so in this case now we got Richard here ready to go. Richard, go ahead and introduce yourself, and you know the floor belongs to you.
Good morning, everyone, listening audience, viewing audience. Doug, yeah, I like the fact that you keep it live and on the radio at the same time. Richard Dorsey for Island Analytics and Marketing. Short name is I Am, keeping it simple. For those who may have known me before, I'm the gentleman from Company Street, 28B Company Street. I'm a townie. I've done the news, you've seen me in the legislature, you've seen me if I sold you some clothes. But like Doug said, I'm a son of the soil, and I dream about the Virgin Islands if I'm gone too long. Right now, our company, we've done pre-nomination polls for the elections. We were the ones first out the gate to kind of give the community an understanding of who might be the forerunners and the front runners, rather. We did the primary election, and right now we're doing the general election survey. And we don't just want you to tell us who you're voting for. We want to know why you're voting. So as I spoke to Doug and a little bit off air, we're trying to find out not just the issues that are relevant to you, but what specifically about those issues are pain points for you, whether it's education, the economy, crime. We also want to know how confident are you in your candidates that they'll be able to actually make the changes that you're voting them in for. And also, we want to know, how do you feel about the Virgin Islands? Do you think it's going to get better in the next few years? Do you think it's going to get worse? So we're encouraging you to go on our Facebook page, Island Analytics and Marketing LLC. Go on our website, islandanalyticsvi.com. Or you might see one of our posters. You might see someone calling you. Wherever you find us, whether it's shared to you on a WhatsApp page or someone texts it to you, take the survey. It's 100% anonymous. We are not affiliated with any candidate, company. No one's paying for your information. We don't share your information. We return it back to you. So if you go on our website, our Facebook page, all of our polls and the results are available. And we just want to do this as a community service to let the people know that your voice is something that's very important.
All right. Well, long ago when the station go off the air, you have nothing but, meaning the TV station, you had nothing but little black and white dots going all over the screen and everything else. Or sometimes you're watching TV and something go out of whack, and the TV get all scrambled up or so forth and so on, right? But what's old is new again, but in a different way. Because I'm looking here at your poster, okay, and in the poster, I'll hold it up here so that folks can get an idea of what the poster looks like, okay, all right. But you see this little part down here, okay, over there, a little black and white stuff. Something didn't go wrong with the printer, okay? That's supposed to be like that, okay? Yeah, I'm being funny, but at the same time, there are people who may wonder. It's called a QR code that allows you to do what, Richie?
So all you have to do is you scan the QR code. Now, whether you have an iPhone or an Android, once you open up your camera, like you're gonna take a picture of someone, you just hover over it a little bit, and it'll automatically pop up a link and say, hey, would you like to go to Island Analytics, or would you like to go to SurveyMonkey? So you click the link and you go right there and it's on your phone. So you don't have to search through the website, you don't have to look on Facebook. You just hover over it with your camera and it'll give you the link and then you could take the survey.
All right, folks. Bringing it right to you. Don't even have to come to your doorstep, right to your phone. Okay? Yes. And see, if you're walking by someplace that the poster is up there, just hold up your phone to the thing and boom, next thing you know, you're there. All right? But it's about making it easy for you to be heard. Now, I want to focus on this about being heard. You see, earlier I mentioned those people who just say, I ain't voting and nothing going to change and da-da-da-da-da. I understand what it is like to be frustrated with things that are going on around you. But if you have 10 people in a room and 6 of them say me ain't voting and me ain't being involved in nothing, that means that the 4 that's left running things. You think about it now. So next time you come back and I didn't like this and I don't like that and why is this? The 6 gave up the power to the 4. And this is why you see all of this push nationally to get out the vote. Because you're having a minority determine the life and quality of life of the majority. Think about it now. Think about it. You got the problem with the water system that was going on down there in, I think it was Mississippi or wherever.
Yeah.
Okay.
A few cities actually have had water problems.
And those people who having the problems have numbers of people that didn't go out and vote. Okay? And in adjacent counties where the money was going, they got people there too that didn't go out and vote. Talking ain't gonna make a difference. It's gonna make all the difference in the world because it's quality of life and where the resources going to go to. So now we got our general election coming up and everybody got to make up their own mind. You know, every pot got to sit on its own bottom, and in that sense, but if you don't take the pot out from the cupboard to put something in it, it can't get nothing cooked in it, folks. All right, get out there and make your voice heard. Now let's talk about the poll and letting your voice be heard. The fact of the matter is, these people take the time and get your information and then process it and give it back to you to be able to show that, well, 10% of you feel this way, the next 20% feel this way, but the other 70% they feel this way. And from that, you could get a good feel of what's going on in your community and maybe think about where you are and where you want to be. Think about it. Don't just assume that because you feel this way, everybody else in your neighborhood feel that way too. Okay? All right. And it might be about protecting something that belong to you. I gonna throw this out, right? We have a lot of things going on here. Some people feel less than pleased about some things happening, and people feeling very pleased about. For instance, we see that there's a lot of road work that's going on, but that doesn't say a lot to the person who have a persistent pothole on their street.
Exactly.
So the bottom line, the squeaky wheel can get the grease more often than not, does get it. So we have to learn how to squeak louder, and these polls is part of how you are heard. Now, what's been the response in the community in terms of what you're doing with these polls?
So when we ran our primary election poll, we had over, I'll tell you right now, 1,200 participants. Needless to say, that's way beyond the statistical minimum. But what we focused solely on those who are going to vote in the primary election. And with that, we had almost 790 participants, specifically those that were going to participate in the primary election. And some of the results that we noticed, of course, the governor at the time had a commanding lead over those who didn't make it, Kent Bernier and Oakland Benta. And he dominated in almost every island. He dominated on St. Croix. He dominated on St. Thomas. St. Thomas was just a stronghold and a bastion for the current governor. St. John was even a greater victory. We also noticed that the senator at large, the one who's sitting interim, hopefully to be elected, he also won over the senator at large that was removed, Senator Payne. And then we noticed also with the senatorial races for the Virgin Islands, looking at St. Thomas, Maurice James, she was polling high. Novell Francis, he was second. Kenny Kittens, Senator Whitaker. But you had newcomers like Ophelia Jackson. You had Miss Capehart. Well, I don't think she's a newcomer. She's a return. She's a return.
Yeah.
And then you had Mr. Frederick. We did the same for St. Thomas. We saw that Senator Fred Gregory was number one. We had Milton Potter, then Senator Joseph, then Senator Blyden. And then we had a couple of ties between Mr. Fonseca and a young man, Mr. Lewis, I believe. Yeah, Keyshawn Lois. And then you also had Mr. Lawrence Bishalte tied with Mr. Brown Connors. So we were pretty much on the dot when it came to the gubernatorial race as well as the senator at large race. We did have some misses in the senatorial race, which is expected. No poll is 100% accurate. But we were confident that if we do it again for the general election, using our methodology, that we would be able to get an accurate sense of what Virgin Islanders are thinking about before they go in the booth. But like I said, something was off when we started to do the general election survey. When we started to look at it, said, okay, we kind of know who people are, who they're looking for. They're big names already, in the gubernatorial race. I'm not saying anything against the other candidates, but it's really, two horses in the race.
Right.
Okay.
Awesome.
So if we already have an idea of who the front runners are, who the big names are in the senatorial race, what else is there to find out? And this is where we started to ask different questions. We wanted to know what the issues were, and not just the presumed issues being presented by the politicians. We want to know what the actual community's issues are. So what we did is, like I said before, we opened it up so that we can understand what the community needs. And in doing so, I can't share all of the data because it's still young, still fresh. But we noticed that, let me get there. When it comes to affecting education, right? We asked them, is it substandard buildings? Is it inadequate teacher compensation? Is it inconsistency with curriculum? Is it the Board of Ed? Is it the lack of special needs education? Is it the principals and administration? And other, because we want to know. And so far, the buildings are number one. That's the main issue that Virgin Islanders across the territory are saying is an issue with education. We did the same for healthcare. You know, is it the inadequate number of public healthcare providers, the doctor shortage, the nurses shortage, as you've heard time and time again over the last couple of years. Nurses are a real big problem, not just here locally, but across the U.S. mainland. We asked, is it the management of healthcare facilities? Is it access to various medical specialists, funding for the hospital, high cost of healthcare, and other? And right now, it's polling that up to 73% of our current participants, these are not our final numbers, they say it's inadequate number of public health care providers. You know, and we did the same for the economy. What's really bothering with the economy? We asked, is it high cost of living, the high cost of doing business, lack of high-paying jobs? Is it the economic effects of corruption? Is it government procurement processes? So far, high cost of living. 90% of our current sample said it's a high cost of living. Second is high cost of doing business. So we ask you questions about energy and infrastructure. We ask you questions about law enforcement. But I like my two curveball questions. My two curveball questions. Do you think living in the Virgin Islands will get better or worse in the future? So far, 33% of our respondents say it's going to get somewhat better. 10% say it's going to get much better. So you're looking over 40% of Virgin Islanders thinks the VI is going to get better. That's good. Mm-hmm. I like that. However, 60% don't think it's going to change and think it's going to get worse. And that's the fun thing I like about doing these polls, is that the Virgin Islands is a strong word of mouth community. Yeah, you hear so and so, and I hear so and so, and me like what I hear from so and so, such and such, and hey, that man over there, and you know, that's a wealth of information. But when we start to aggregate that conversation and we start to quantify and we start to analyze, then we get to see something that's a little bit, it's magical a little bit. It's like finding diamonds in the sand. You start to see, hey, it's not Peter Pogel and John and Mary and Sue. It's all of St. Croix or all of East End, or it's specifically the north side of St. Thomas versus the east side of St. Thomas. And what are those stories and what are those narratives being woven together within the community? And how can we look at that in a measurable way? And then when we start to play with our data, we start to see things that are just amazing. So even 40% of the Virgin Islanders think it's going to get better. 60% are holdouts. So now you understand when you hear people saying, well, me, I can't stand these roads, I got to move to the States for healthcare. Now you have a number. You can say, we need to change that number. We need to get 50% of Virgin Islanders on a positive upswing about what can happen in the territory. My last curveball is, even before I ask you who you're voting for, you're going to answer all these questions. If your candidates win the upcoming election, how confident are you that they will address the issues above that are important to you? Let me put in the percentages real quick. So when we ask that question, we see now, these are not my final numbers. Let me reiterate that again. 42% are completely confident that their candidates will actually address their issues. 23% said they're fairly confident. So you're looking over 60% of our current sample is saying, yeah, they're going to do the job. But that there's 60% that says the VI is not going to get better. So where's the disassociation? Right, now we start to look at the weird stuff and say, okay,
some cognitive dissonance.
There's some dissonance happening. You know, yeah, they're going to do a good job, but I don't think the VI going to get better. So then why are you voting for them? Or rather, why are you supporting the initiatives? Or why aren't you being more vocal against? So what's happening is, what we see is that in our community, there's a lot of anger and issue and frustration, but yet there's like loyalty to parties and politicians.
sound like someplace else on the globe, right?
Exactly. So what we could do now, and this is the fun stuff, I could start to twist this, right? I could start to compare and contrast. So I would like to look at male, female, and other, because so 2022. And the reason why we start to look at different things in the demographics, we can break it down by age, we can break it down by gender, sex identity. We can also break it down by district and sub-district. And when I mean sub-district, I don't mean what we assume as a sub-district. When we started this polling process, we wanted to find out what was the most efficient way to section the Virgin Islands internally. So we know St. Croix, anecdotally, east, west, and mid-island.
Yeah.
Not sure. It isn't really a south shore, it's just east, right? So that's 4. But what is the actual measurement for how you plot out the Virgin Islands? So when we looked at the highest authority of demographics research, it's the U.S. Census. The U.S. Census has several sub-districts in the U.S. Virgin Islands. And Doug, when we started to plot it out, it blew my mind. I have never considered myself, I'm going to tell you it right now. Which estate you live in? Don't tell them your address. Your estate.
Christian State.
Christian State.
Mhm.
Town.
Mhm.
Okay. Now here's a joke. Do you know that for St. Croix, there are 9 U.S. Census sub-districts? And if you live in downtown district, downtown Christian State, you're in sub-district number 2. You're in Christian State sub-district. I lived town 28B Company Street a long time. I've never considered myself to live in sub-district 2. It gets worse. Sub-district 9, where I currently live, is called the Southwest Sub-District. And that's how they have sliced our map in the territory. So Southwest Sub-District 9 includes White Bay, White Lady, White Bay because there's 2, north and south, Stony Ground West, Wim West, Stony Ground East, Concordia South, Whites Bay East, Hannah's Rest, Wim East, Carlton, Kane, Williams Delight, Diamond West. Didn't know there's like 3 diamonds on St. Croix, and Enfield Green. So according to the U.S. Census, all of these estates are in this one little category. So when they look at us and when they report to us to Congress, they're saying sub-district number 9, Southwest, they have these issues. These are the demographics for this. These are the health ramifications, the economic outlooks. These are the quality of life. This is how they're looking at us from the top down. But we don't look at ourselves like this. So when we now collect this data, we're going to ask you, look at the picture and tell me which number you belong to. So it's easy for those who are taking it. But on our end, we have the list of every estate in every sub-district. So I say all that to say, when you start to do fun stuff like this, I can now compare not just St. Croix, St. Thomas, St. John. We can start to look at what's Frederickstead versus Christianstead. What's North Shore, half of North Shore versus the other half of North Shore. What's the southern 4 sections? Because the southern section of the Virgin Islands of St. Croix, you have East End, you have like Anna's Hope area, you have all by the airport, and then you have the little tail going all the way to Point Udall. So we can start to see now what the trends are in each sub-district. And then we could break that down by age, and we could break that down by gender. So if I'm losing you, I ain't just minding your business. I'm going to help you understand what your neighbor feels, what differences you have, why in Cyan Farm you might have a different opinion about the quality of life versus someone who live in Carlton. And these are the nuances that I don't think we've ever stopped to think about.
Well, we never got close to thinking about them because technology has really brought us in a realm, and one of the things that's happening here is that technology is slowly plodding along in terms of translating into a quality of life and quality of insight into life. You know, I'm going to invite you back here, but the next time, hopefully, you come back here. We're going to have a hookup where you could plug in and we could put some of these things so that when you want to, it could be there on the stream so people could see the actual manifestations of how you can, I don't want to use the manipulate, mine.
Yes.
Mine. We're digging for gold.
Yeah, it is. Information
we're
is gold.
mining the information. We're digging for gold so that people could get an understanding. Because just listening to you here, I mean, I'm hoping that the audience is grasping that all of a sudden we have insight that before we could just only speculate about. even though polling might be speculation, it's much more accurate than just reaching out in your mind and pulling something.
Exactly. Even the best, even the best.
Yes.
You know, and I'll give you a good example, right? So when I said, okay, let's break it down by area. Now I'm not talking about St. Thomas. We do have the St. Thomians, we have the St. Jonians, but forgive me right now, I'm a Crucian. I'm a Virgin Islander first. I'm a Crucian second. As a town man third.
All right.
So I can speak a little bit more eloquently about St. Croix because I'm here and we're home. So when we look at healthcare issues and St. Croix, so I told you already, healthcare is a really big problem. You know, the majority of people feel as though inadequate number of healthcare providers is like the number one issue. That's territory wide. But when we look at St. Croix now and we start to break it down, Frederickstead, that's the number one problem. Inadequate number of healthcare providers. So if you live in the town of Frederickstead, that's your biggest problem. But that don't mean that's the biggest problem everywhere. If you look at Christianstead, its biggest problem is access to various specialists. The number of healthcare providers is second. So what is that telling me? Frederickstead needs more medical people power, but Christianstead wants diversity in medical specialists. So that's the pain point for Christianstead versus a pain point for Frederickstead. When I look at places like, that's a nice one. When you look at Cyan Farm, right? Cyan Farm's a big estate. Their top issue is actually the management of the hospitals and the health facilities. So when you start to look at us, and not just who said and how he said, yeah, I think, whatever. Cyan Farm wants reassurance that the management of their healthcare facilities is top notch. Christianstead wants access. Frederickstead wants more in the labor force. So that's telling me, even though we have a small community, we have different needs. So now, as a policy maker, as a decision maker, as a CEO of a stakeholder institution, I need to drill down and find what are the specific needs of my community. And that's the point.
I have a question for you, okay? And I want it to be totally out of the context of where we are today, okay? What has been our government stance in terms of reaching out to island analytics and marketing to find out more about their community and how to fashion policies that will best serve their community? Has there been outreach to you? Are they utilizing services like yours? Because this is it's kind of like having foggy glasses and all of a sudden somebody give you a much clearer set. And if you could get a much clearer set, then you could navigate the things you got to do much better. Has there been outreach? You tell me.
So I want to start by answering a question that's why. Before I go to the who and what. The reason why I'm doing this is because, not as cliche as I love the VI. A lot of people love the VI. You could love your spouse and still treat them bad. The Virgin Islands, for me, is not just my homeland. It's not just my people. It's an enigma. It makes sense and don't make sense. And when I look at the Virgin Islands and I compare it to the rest of the world, this diamond is both, like you said, clear and foggy. And I love our culture. I love our people. So I start to ask myself questions, and I ask, why do we act the way do we act? Why do we do the things that we do? Why do we spend the way that we spend? And how can answers to this help everybody make better decisions? All my preamble is to say, I have worked with the government of the Virgin Islands. I would like to work more with the government of the Virgin Islands, and not just the government of the Virgin Islands, the legislature of the Virgin Islands, the non-profits of the Virgin Islands. I think those three arms, I know I'm not talking judicial, but those three sections rather, they're the ones that are both the gatekeepers, the guardians, as well as the distributors of the resources for the territory. So I have worked with them before. One of the great projects we did was a community needs assessment for the Department of Health Wonderful project. Did tons of research, got to find out everything about nonprofits as it pertains to women and children seeking specialized services and health and resources. And one of the things we got through in that report was that you had all these nonprofits, and they would say to me in the interview, can I get a copy of this report? Because I don't know what happens across the water, or I don't know what's happening in this nonprofit. And basically, the pain point for them was they don't have a connection with everything that's happening in their industry. So even though it might be Women's Coalition, even though it might be Family Resource Center, even though it might be DVSAC, even though it might be prenatal care services, even though they might sit on boards together, they still don't have a very clear and broad understanding of what's happening and all the moving parts. So that was a beautiful project. I learned so much about what resources are available for women and children in the Virgin Islands. You'd be surprised how much people care and how often resources are available. But then we want to do more. We want to be able to sit down with policymakers, legislatures, and say, hey, this is an issue right now in the community. So I'm going to give you a bad story. So my company produced the 2021 COVID Economic Impact Report. Lord Harry the Judge.
I hear that a lot these days.
200 plus pages. Over 500 businesses in the territory responded to our survey. We asked them all types of questions. Will you hire in the future? Will you keep your doors open? Will you return to profits? How do you feel about the economic support that comes from the local government, the federal government? Were you able to get federal grants? And if so, were you able to apply? No. Were you aware of them? Did you apply and did you receive? Then we asked them, how much money did you lose in 2020? How much did you lose in 2021? Then we took our unique data and combined it with the Department of Labor's 6 years worth of Department of Labor's data in like 5 different categories: employment trends, annual average compensation, establishments growth and loss, overall employment levels, and we projected that we looked at it retrospectively for 6 years, because in the last 5 years it's been chaos everywhere in the Virgin Islands. You had 2 Cat 5s in 17, you catch yourself, and by 19 to 20 then you had COVID, and in between COVID and the Cat 5s, Lime Tree decided to give up. So it's just been economic insanity. And for all those who are at the helm, I thank you, because many people, Enron went down and people were jumping out of buildings. I can't imagine what it's like being in the war room of the legislature and the executive branch, and for the last 5 years it's just pure chaos. I say a lot to say, a wealth of information. Ask me who get a copy of the report.
Who got a copy of the report? You see, this is also a challenge from a generational perspective, because long ago it used to be about who is really who father and all these other things that you find out 100 years later because they were so good at doing this, and we got to a point where nobody really cared. Just go ahead and tell it. But if you go back and you sit down with elders, oh God, man, what you want to talk about? Leave that alone, no? And that type of thing. So that has still got vestiges in our society here in the Virgin Islands. And we have to start understanding that you really can't fix it unless you bring it out. Okay, so figure out how you're going to put your spin on it in terms of said, well, it ain't my fault, because that's a lot of them issues there. As much so as we did some research and we found some very unique problems and aspects of the past, and we want to attack them. We need your help. Let's do it. Let's turn this place around. Let's do something. That's the way you got to come at it. Because there's going to always be something bad, and everybody looking for who filed to be, as opposed to looking for the dysfunction in the system and how we could change the dysfunction in the system.
You know what I noticed? I love Caribbean people. I am one. I at times have been a victim of my own ignorance. When it comes to going to the doctor, unless it's falling off, chances are we won't go to the doctor, right? And it's a cultural thing. It's really a cultural thing,
especially among the men.
Oh man, it's an island man problem, and I too am a part of that group. You know, my wife has said,
First step is to recognize the problem.
hey, the Nile is the longest river in the world. So sometimes I feel like in the Virgin Islands, unless it's broken, and when I mean broken, like you can't glue it together, you can't tape it together, leave it alone. And it's a cultural thing, because when you look at like Japan, they go to the doctor every time they sneeze. And, so and you just go to specialists. You don't really go to a general doctor for purpose. You go to specialists. So in their culture, health is wealth. I think sometimes when it comes to data, we have that similar mindset. What I need that for? And they ain't gonna tell me nothing. Or rather, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. How will I use it? So this is where we're gonna shift focus from just generating data to really trying to help the community, policy to small business, policymaker to small business owner. These are the gems that you're not realizing. These are the tools you're not seeing. These are the insights you haven't even thought about. But not just not just how to use it, but why you should use it. I'll give you a good example. I find that businesses in the Virgin Islands are fighting both the global economy and they're fighting themselves in the local economy. David versus Goliath, and it's David versus David. It's a crazy fight. So their operational efficiency is troubling them. Customer loyalty and customer sentiment, those are things that are fighting them. Pricing, this competitor has this price, that person have that price, and it's all about paying WAPA, paying your employees, and then still try to put money in your pocket, so you're not doing this just for purpose. And I've struggled with that same nightmare. Why am I doing this? It's not working out. It's so hard. But then you still have dreams of making it work. You still have hopes of satisfying your customers, providing a good service. You still want to hire people and look at someone who used to be in your shoes, who could be in your shoes, and put them in a different pair of shoes, and all kind of situations like that. So our goal is to say, hey, we could help you sleep better at night. Because now you know why your customers aren't loyal to you. Now you know what issues they have with your customer service or with your product. Now you know what your competitors are doing in the market. Now you know what is the best pricing model for your product or services. Now you know how to have more operational efficiency. Now you know how to synchronize your data sets, your point of sales, your customer analytics. Now you know and you're confident that when you say, I'm going to sell this pencil for $2, for the value, it's the best price. I'm making $1.50 on return. My customers love my pencil. They come to me for my pencil. The confidence to say, my business is thriving is the reason why we're here. I want to help you. We want to help you thrive. Stop surviving. I want to help Virgin Islanders thrive.
Okay. And I want to bring it full circle back around to I really support and loyal to my candidate, but I don't see the Virgin Islands getting better. I believe my candidate could fix it, and I am certain that they're gonna fix it, but I don't see the Virgin Islands getting better. So once you can identify that you have that type of a conflict, then how do you dismantle it so you can move forward?
And that's the goal. So we intend, not just in this cycle, every year we're going to do this. We're going to poll the executive branch, because in January you're no longer a candidate. You either got the job or you didn't. The executive branch, the legislative branch, we're going to poll them. Not them, but the people. One of the things we notice in the mainland, you could tell the president's approval numbers any day of the week. 12 o'clock in the morning on a Wednesday, you could just say, I wonder what's the president's approval rating, and you find out.
All right.
We're going to generate that data, but we're going to keep doing it the way we're doing it now. We're going to reach out to you. We're going to talk to you. You might not see us on the street because COVID is still up there. It's getting way better now. But early on, COVID was still, and I don't feel comfortable paying people to be around people, especially knowing we have a very mature and senior population. I don't want to add to the stress. So as COVID has now become more manageable, next year we're going to start putting people up. But what we do now is we call you. We'll call you on your landline. We want to be able to share with you everyone's sentiment. And like I said before, we're going to break it down by district. So when the 35th legislature is in, because right now we're 34th, when the 35th legislature is in session and the next governor is in house, Cy Farm will know, hey, my healthcare situation still ain't fixed, you know. Christian Segno say, hey, I still don't have access to various specialists. Or Eastern St. Thomas gonna say, hey, I still don't have good roads. And St. John in Cruz Bay gonna say, hey, I still need better. So now you have the information to say to your elected officials, I'm here. I'm 25% of your voting block, and I still don't have what I want. But the problem, Doug, is what you said. You're confident in someone, but you're not confident in the Virgin Islands being better, which means you don't know enough of what's happening around you to make a decision and say, okay, obviously I can't be that confident because this is not getting better. So with this information now, you can say as a group of people, I'm a part of this group and I don't have what I want. So now it gives the average citizen the ability to go to the senators, go to the executive branch and say, hey, Grove need this, Williams-Elite need that, Rapoon need this, Estate Thomas need that, Savan need this. And stop saying we all for the Virgin Islands as an elected official. No, the Virgin Islands is not one square block. Each section has a specific need, and that's what we want to do. We want to be able to bridge the dissonance, help elected officials see the pain points in each community, realize one size doesn't fit all, even for a small community. One size don't fit all, and that each section of our community has the ability to voice their specific opinion on what the issues are.
Right. Well, you know, election is right around the corner, and the people will speak loudly, softly, clearly, opaque, however it comes across. Right? And I look at what you're doing, and let's say if WSTX is going to have an election coverage thing, I think it might be very nice if we can get you in here before we get into the results part and talk about, well, this is what the people are saying part, and then we see how it comes out and we could track it later. The other thing is that this information that these various lines of insight into what's going on in the minds of the people of the Virgin Islands, what they're feeling. Is there a way that this is going to be trackable? And the reason why I said, you know, they say we got sharp memory. Okay? And it's good for people to be able to say, well, this is what you were feeling then. How you're different now and why.
Yes.
You know, it's that kind of thing. Somebody got with it. Somebody got with it. Okay.
So yeah, this because it's a general election and the stakes are high, we're asking you these questions, and these are the same types of questions we're going to keep asking every year in and out of election cycles. Our results, our final results, will be live on October 31st, a little bit shy of 8 days before you go in the ballot boxes. So we're going to release these results on the 31st, all the breakdowns, some insights. What we normally do is we send it to the news outlets, the news. Thank you all my news media buddies for always publishing our information. And we're going to make sure that the community gets to see it before they go in the ballot box. How Cy Farm feel,
Right.
how Savan feel, how Estate Thomas feel. And then we're going to keep asking the same questions. And then we'll be able to track it.
Okay.
And then we'll track it.
All right. Well, we really down to our last few minutes here, and the next team will be coming in a moment to do what they do. And I just want to say that our talking and you're ending up here today is kind of like, I feel like you just happen to be in the right place at the right time to connect, and because this is so relevant beyond the election. You know, people think about polls only in terms of election. We're getting to that point now where people can track their memory They are worried about short memory and how they felt at a particular point in time. We come into a point now where I think that anyone in a commissioner position in their right mind that happened to see this and hear what we're talking about could say, well, I need to figure out how I could tap that in terms of assessing our performance and the relevant perception in the community of that performance and how we can fine tune it to better serve the public. Every commissioner, I'm saying it that way, the governor is only one man. They can set the policy and hopefully the commissioners will run with it in a way that's consistent. What I would have liked to have talked about a little bit more is the private sector embrace of what you do. And I could see that there should be quite an interest. We have businesses that think that they are a monopoly or they control certain sectors, but folks go other places. They find a way to go other places. And maybe you might be interested in saying, well, how can we maybe keep it so that you don't go looking someplace, that you stay right here on the island in that regard. So you could plug out. Okay? I got Mr. Robert Moorhead here in the house getting ready for his time. You could just plug me out and plug later. Okay? And you're not going to shut down. All right? But, yeah, when you heard me saying earlier about the gun with it, somebody went with our ability to hook up things here, multiple things here at the table. Somebody went with it, okay? But Richard, I'm just so glad that we had this opportunity to speak on this subject, and I think that for those who hear and hopefully will get this out there so people can see that they'll understand it's more than just a poll.
More than just a poll.
It's more than just election time.
It's your story.
It's exactly. And how you felt when and how have things changed since then. And not 2 years later. That's the problem. I don't believe in this Jesus complex. That's why they'll call it that you die and leave, and then when you come back, it's when you take and assess where you are. You are stored in the meantime to help to define where you are and where it is that you're going to be going, you know, in that context. I want our people as much as possible to know that, hey, we're responsible for where we are and we're responsible for where we're going to go. Yeah, you might have this person in that position, whatever, so forth and so on. But how much are we? How much are them? When you look at it that way, you realize that really it's up to us. I want to wish you the best in what you're doing. I hope that we see more outreach from the various aspects of our government to start to mine this information in a manner that's going to be helpful in delivering services to the community. You know, one of the things is the afraid. It's new. It might make me look bad as this. Well, the fact of the matter is, anybody, I don't care how good you are, there's something that you're not doing as good at that you can improve. And if you can't get to it by denial, just like you were talking about.
Longest river.
The men are
But if I may just quickly interject, I believe that for me, it's the first time that I've heard such a holistic approach. It's not just, oh, well, this candidate, that candidate, this party, that party. It talks, or it lends itself, it speaks to those things, and you hear it on the national news when they're doing polls. And I'm really pleased to see that you're doing it here as well. It gives information as to subject specific. Like you're saying, Frederick State is into all healthcare. We ain't getting none. Christian said, listen, we more into the cancer thing, we need specialists, this kind of stuff. Mid-Island is saying, hey, we could care less about this or that, we want food. How does those things change? How do those things affect us? This type of data is something that we should have been doing. And I'm really, truly glad to see that, you know, at least we're starting, and like Dougie has indicated, I really wish that not just the elected officials, but our government officials would take advantage of something like this, you know.
If I have my way, we're gonna have it so that they cannot afford not to.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
to. Okay? And the real truth of it is we, the community, can't afford for leadership to go that route of head in the sand, or afraid of what might come
But we
out,
guess
whatever.
it. We guess
No,
it.
no, no,
You
no.
can't guess anymore, especially when you have empirical data.
Yep.
Let's stop this guessing game all the time.
Yeah.
Put us in a position where, okay, we've collected data. Okay, well, what am I going to do with the data? Well, the data can be broken down by districts, by gender, by ethnicity, whatever it is, and then you get a picture of what's going on within our community and the directions we should be going. So yeah, they should all be slapping it up.
Another thing that you brought to my attention is that we have never really looked at the census process in terms of how they see us, and I say that how they have us slice up, and that's very interesting. I want to know, because I never really thought about it. Or you have census and try to fill out and do whatever, make sure that your information gets out there so we're better represented and everything else. You hear that part of it, but we don't see, well, okay, they take in this information, using it in a way that is really helpful to us. Is it hurtful to us? Does it really translate into us in that sense? And so I really appreciate all that you brought into this discussion this morning. Okay, but I have a feeling that you're going to become much more sought after.
Yeah. I think so too.
Okay, which is good, because the clearer the picture, okay, the more that there is to consider, that we do consider, the better it's going to be for us as a community. All right. Well, he over there, all nice and with a pleasant face and everything, by there his time, okay? I had there his time, so and the teeth them coming out, he just ain't open up his mouth to show them, and next, Carl probably don't gone out to the marshals to come and say, hey, we got a squatter here, we need you to get him out.
If Mr. Mohead want to keep me on, I could stay, but I understand time is always something you can't control.
Yeah, he'll keep you for a few. I'm just saying, I'm making the acknowledgement so that the folks will understand in that regards. But no, I'm very happy that we connected and you're in here. And if we do the post-election type of wrap up on that maybe before that you could get a chance to talk about your survey and the things that you determined, because I think that.
So like I said, our results are going to be live on the 31st of October.
Mhm.
I think that's maybe a Tuesday. I gotta look at the date. 31st is on a Monday.
It's a Monday, yeah.
So on the 3rd, your Thursday, I'd love to come back and share the breakdown. We start going into the minutia.
Okay.
So we could go have a live, and I'll connect to your systems, and then you can see in live real time. Boom.
Mark the 3rd down. We will do it. And I'll still tell those guys just in case, because even though it comes out on the 30th, and we'll be in on the 3rd and everything else. The bottom line is that whenever people are there paying attention to who win this and who win that, it's nice to have a little context before that is a conversation that they will tune into. I believe they'll tune into it. Okay, in that sense. All right. Okay. Well, having said all of that, I'm gonna make my way out of here so that we can flip the page and be on the flip side and get into the talk. And where's our guy today?
He's supposed to be on his way.
On his way. Okay. Coach Foy will be in here.
GRS meeting.
Oh, GRS meeting. Okay.
Yeah,
all right. So he may be caught up in his civil service to the station.
No, we're going to discuss that meeting, because the bombshell get dropped in the meeting.
Okay.
According to
the pay raise?
Yeah, Mr. Russell indicated that the pay raise came from the board. Well, the man himself, in front of everybody, say, you know what Russell talking about? I asked for the pay raise and they paid me $25,000 less than I asked for.
Okay, all right. Okay, ain't nothing like the truth, Okay, you gotta
straight out of the man's mouth. You had people falling down and falling over when the man says so. Hold on.
Okay, all right. Well, it's always good to get to the truth, the fact, and yeah, let me get that out your way.
What's going on here?
No self-defense, no self-defense items in the place.
Yeah, and the last thing she needs is another stick.
You don't make me sound so mean. I'm not that bad.
All right, folks. We fortunately we got a very a very talented and committed person
good
here in our in our studio here, making sure that we stay on the air. All right, it's gonna be good, folks. Mr. Foy just walked in. All right, so let's go ahead and folks, just remember, do your random act of kindness. If you're feeling kind of bored, do some premeditated acts of kindness. You ain't gotta worry about the January 6th committee and all them other folks. No jail time. They will actually encourage you in that good behavior.
AM 970 WSTX.
Hey, Josh.
Hey, Dad.
You should tell people that if they want their sales to increase and their business to succeed, they should advertise on WSTX AM and FM.
That's a great idea. I got the perfect way to say it. Give me a second to organize my thoughts. Hey, everybody. If you want your sales to increase and your business to succeed, you should advertise at WSTX AM and FM.
Pretty good, Josh.
Thanks, Dad. For more information, email us at WSTXradio@gmail.com or call us at 970-812-9789. That's 970-812-WSTX.
Get a free iPhone this summer. More fun, more pics, more moments, more. Get a free iPhone with your Via Mobile Unlimited Home Abroad plan. With nationwide coverage, plus Caribbean coverage. The best network in the USVI. More summer with Via. Switch your network, keep your number. Switch at any Via store. For more information, visit via.vi/mobile.
This is your Senator, Samuel Sam Carrion, number 12 on your ballot. As your Senator, this term, I proudly offer legislation to develop our territorial park system. Act 8609 creates a new division of territorial parks and protected areas, making DPNR eligible for millions in conservation grants to maintain public lands and to create new parks for our people. Preserving the beauty of our islands and the health of our environment is essential to both our quality of life and economy. Given the growing concerns regarding beach access, pollution, and the loss of significant historical sites, I acted to protect our natural and cultural heritage. Parks are an investment in our children and our future. This election, re-elect Samuel Sam Carrion, number 12 on your ballot.
Paid for by friends of Samuel Sam Carrion, number 12 on your ballot.
The Virgin Islands Police Department is pleased to announce the launch of its body-worn camera program that will equip the